What is up, my blushing glam? Suck up fit for me. It's your girl Blush, and we are back with another sit down video. So we are already in the thick of 2026. So by the time you see this video, we'll probably be already in the mid-February. And yes, this is my first video 2026. You know, we all just trying to get it together. You know, once the turn of the calendar year comes around. And I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know majority of us can agree and can attest to, you know, once the new year come around, you're trying to catch up with your new year resolutions, all the different changes from, you know, laws, tax laws, and everything that just goes on with life. You're just trying to catch up with all of that. So, and I don't have my mic on today. So you guys, if I sound a little different, I don't know if it's better or different. That's the reason why. So hopefully you're able to still, you know, hear me clearly. Now, I didn't used to use the mic for other sit down videos, so it's not that much different, but my understanding is with using the mic, my audio should have been a little bit clearer. Anyways, as you might can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about New Year resolutions. How do we make 2026 and beyond our best year and our best? I do have a couple of points written down here, and these are not to say the only way you can make your year the best you've had, but I think these are pointers that you can definitely start on and then kind of like branch out from there. Like if you remember when we were kids and we had to kind of like write essays, we had to do like the little web. So you had like your main idea in the middle and like little webs from that. And even sometimes your teacher made you go in depth and you had to have three main ideas with those little webs. So you can start off with these little, you know, these tips, these advices here, and then branch out to make other things to allow your year to be your best year. Now, granted, this is the beginning of the year. Again, we're still all ironing out things even from probably last year that we're still trying to, you know, navigate through. And please rest assured that these are things that I am giving myself these same advices to. So these are things that I need to apply or have been applying as the year has started. So anyways, and it's in no particular order. You don't have to do this, you know, the number one first. It's just how I wrote it down. The first advice I would say is to bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Follow your dreams. A lot of us, we have these little ideas. We have these thoughts. We have these seeds that we plant in our head. And we say to ourselves, we want to start this new business. We want to start this new career. We want to start this hobby. We want to start these side hustles, whatever you like to call it. And some of us never actually go through with starting those things. Sometimes it's lack of time. Sometimes it's lack of funds. Sometimes it's just lack of drive. And either way, I would put lack of drive on the top of all of that, because when you're driven, when you know that you want something, you're going to do everything that it takes to get that something done. It's just like pursuing a relationship, you know, whether it's a female or a guy that wants to pursue the next person. That person may be way out of your league. And I say that with respect. It's just like we all have different standards and different leagues and different things that makes us unique in who we are. And some people just may not be in that bracket of whatever your lifestyle is. And yet some of us will still pursue that person. And whether you're able to continue a relationship with that person or not, the fact of the matter is you didn't let barriers stop you from pursuing that person. So those same things definitely apply with starting, like betting on yourself, starting out on those dreams, starting out on those businesses and side hustles and things like that. Do what you need to do to start that, whatever that item is, whether it's doing the research. I mean, And when you do your research, you don't just limit your research to one thing, because I know like we can go on to expect, I'm definitely guilty of it, going on to TikTok, going on to YouTube and putting in a question, and videos will pop up. Somebody else who might have a little bit more information, a little bit more experience, a little more credential than you will come on here and spit out information. Now, whether the information is valid or not, it is something that you can use to kind of start off somewhere, but it's not something that you use as your end all be all. You still need to kind of do extra research. You go online, you Google, you type in other things outside of, social media, just to make sure that that information is correct, valid, and up to date. Because remember, laws are changing constantly, year to year, month to month, administration to administration. So just make sure that you're keeping up to date with these things so that you know if you're capable of following your dreams, following that side hustle, that career, that whatever it is that you want to go ahead and do, that you can allow yourself to be able to set yourself up to be able to do it. Number 2, create a routine. Be consistent. This is something I definitely am trying to work on. Definitely something like on the top of my priority list. I'm not consistent. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm sure it doesn't take a genius to see that. I'm not all that consistent. And granted, I feel like I kind of make excuses to myself as to why I'm not consistent. Life changes, kids, family, work, whatever the case is. Going back to number 1, where I say, be driven. So pretty much you have to tell yourself this needs to be done. The same way we can wake up every morning, put that alarm clock on, and you clock into your 9-to-5 job if you have one. It's the same way that you can be consistent with whatever it is that you need to be consistent with. So again, if it's, your YouTube video, if it's your TikTok channel, if it's content, if it's side hustles, if it's exercising, your like meal plans and meal prep in your health life, if it's anything that's going to kind of like take your quality of life to another level, you have to be consistent and you have to be driven. So definitely create a routine. Same way your work might have a schedule and you have to kind of follow those schedules. Same way when we started school, when we were kids, the teacher always had a schedule on the wall. And those schedule is what they went by to kind of make sure the kids knew how the day was going to go. Sometimes we have to kind of create these same type of setups and routines, a lot like how kids do things, so that we can make sure that we're staying on top of things. As you can see, that's usually how kids learn. So because that's how we tend to learn since grade school, sometimes there's a need for us to keep that type of logic of creating a routine and just being consistent with it, staying on top of that schedule, even if it's not paying you at this time. Number 3, I would say make time to meditate, make time to pray. I'm using those 2 words separately because I know some people may not agree with using those things interchangeably. Personally, I feel like prayer is a moment of meditation. It is a moment of just kind of like separating yourself from everyday world and just kind of connecting yourself to your higher self as well as your higher power. I'm not here to be a religious leader or religious spokesperson. I'm not even here to be a religious just talk about religion, period, or spirituality. But I do believe it is something that's necessary for a human being to have some sort of connection with being outside of their everyday self. And sometimes that just takes and requires you taking a moment and just like separating, even if that just means being quiet for 10, 15 minutes, listening to music that will calm you down, listening to nature, water, crickets or whatever the case is, something that will allow you to kind of just wind down from the everydays what happens every day to just calming down, stepping outside of every day and centering yourself. A lot of times that helps with bringing clarity. Sometimes we just are dealing with a lot of indecisiveness, a lot of just uncontrollable feelings and emotions, and that, whether it's prayer or whether it's meditation, whether it's a combination of both, I feel like definitely helps you to kind of just bring all of that together. Because again, I feel like as human beings, we're not just the flesh, we're not just what you see here. There's just so many dimensions to us. And without kind of getting into complicated conversations, sometimes we just kind of have to just tune ourselves so that flesh meets spirit, or energy, however way you want to call it, so that you can just kind of like bring it in. Sometimes the day is just so much going on. We need to bring it in. Next is just making time for yourself. Whether that can be the meditation and prayer, but just making time for yourself. Self-care can include, whether it's you taking 10 to 15 minutes before you take a shower, after you take a shower, to do skincare. Maybe you like to do your hair. I know like a lot of DIYers who don't want to go to the salon, so you might need to just take an hour or two to just sit down, figure out what you want to do with your hair, and just make yourself feel nice about yourself. Whether it's just kind of getting up, putting some makeup, going to the store, whether it's shopping, as long as it's not something that's kind of like bringing your quality of life down. Whether it's taking a walk. And sorry if you hear like noise in the background. When you have toddlers at home, and we just need to kind of figure out how we're going to channel his energy somewhere else. But for now, we just kind of got him watching TV while I'm recording. But without going outside of that, so self-care, whatever that may be, painting your nails, maintenance day, again, taking a walk, walking your dog. Maybe it's just kind of like sitting down by yourself, watching TV, watching your favorite show for a couple of hours. Again, as long as whatever it is, it's just not deterring, like, because sometimes we do things that kind of like is self-care or like make us feel good, but then it's like it's not really helping us productively or anything like that. So there has to be like a balance. But as long as you can take just, even if it's like 30 minutes, an hour each day, or maybe 2 hours a week, or whatever, however you want to set it up, to just focus on you. Some of us are mothers, our parents, our dads. We are sisters, brothers. We are best friends. We are teachers. We are, we work at whatever we work at. Content creators. We are something to somebody, and sometimes your energy is being tugged at and pulled at in all different directions. And just taking time to yourself, I think, is very, very important, because then it allows you to just kind of like rejuvenate and reboot and re-energize yourself so that you can keep going. I talked about like the fact that things are constantly changing. So read up on your laws, especially like now with like the change of the administration. A lot of things have changed like drastically. So just try to keep up with the different laws that are changing, so you can see again, how does it affect you and your family? How does it affect what it is that you want to do? Whether it's you need to get financial help for something, grants, financial aid for school, or whatever it may be. If you don't keep up with the laws, you really don't know how that may affect your family and like your next step. So definitely keep up with just how the laws have changed federally, and even in just like your local, your state, and just like your local laws. And to close it out, financial literacy. I usually have like my Boss Babe series, and with my Boss Babe series, we kind of like touch base on financial literacy. And it is very important that I just kind of like beat that in your heads, you guys. Like, it is important for us to kind of stay on top of like our financial health. And I'm saying this again, I'm being this to myself. It's definitely advice that I need to give to myself constantly, because sometimes we get caught up either with just bills and things like that. We're not kind of like, we're not building our net worth. We're not building our generational wealth. We're not building other parts of our finances. We're just paying bills, or we're not paying bills. We're just kind of getting caught up in debt and just things that are not helping us financially currently or our future financial selves. So definitely just find out, again, going back to laws, how can you, what are things that you can get, whether you can look into adding a trust to you and your family, getting an insurance plan, savings accounts, what type of savings account, high yielding. There's so much information out there that each week or each month you can kind of like invest yourself into finding out about how you can build yourself financially. And that is it, you guys. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. I know I got some other insight, my other like social sites. This was actually a plain blonde wig, and I toned it down a little bit, so to speak, with these two boxes. So for those of you guys who wanted to know what I use in order to kind of like change up, because this was like a platinum blonde, and I just was looking at ways to kind of tone it down. So those of you who definitely like the way that I toned down this wig, I don't have a video set up for this, but at least I'm letting you know what I did use, the two boxes that I did use. I think I used the brown on the roots area, and then this was like on the ends. But you guys, I'm not gonna go ahead and keep you guys too long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're following me on my other social sites, which is pretty much either blush_the_icon, THAICON, with Instagram, and blush the icon on TikTok. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. So if this is your first time here, welcome. But make sure you join the family so we can see more of my videos. Peace.